everybody. Welcome to episode 15. How are you doing? No, really, how are you doing? Um, it's been a wild week for me. Uh, some of the people on here will actually know this already, but so my husband's been on a shift at work. It's called Q shift, and he does 4 nights off for 36 hours, 4 days off for 36 hours, 4 nights. Anyway, um, it's been a lot. It's not his regular shift. Usually he gets, 3 days off in a row sometimes, and it's enough to kind of reset him and bring his brain back, and for me not to be on all the time. And that's not the case with Q shift. So then you add, so a lot of solo parenting is happening during this shift, but then you add him being storm stayed at work for 2 extra nights. And it just, you hit your max. And then you realize you can do hard things, which is amazing, but also I don't want to have to. Does that make sense? So my son and I, we had a good time for a couple of the days that I was off with him. There was 5 days of solo parenting in total, and I'm sure, if you're a single parent on here, you're like, Les, 5 days is nothing, and I get that. It's just not what I'm used to, and I have full empathy for those who do it themselves. But there was also this unsure, when is my husband going to get home? We were snowed in the house. We couldn't get out the driveway. Thankfully, we have good neighbors with big tractors that can help us out, and it just felt like a lot of my nervous system, while also trying to build a business, while also, the mental load of just life right now. Everything feels a little heavier. And as you know, there's Pen. Come here, Pen. As you know, there's more energetic things happening on the planet than we're even aware of, really. And hello, Hanabi. And so anyway, everything just felt really heavy. And there was a couple moments where I definitely lost it with my kiddo, which I'm not proud of. And we've repaired that, and it's fine. But I got to the end of the day, and I was like, I just needed a really good cry and a trip to Florida, which may or may not be happening. So I sat down to do a meditation, as I do, and I actually got a couple hours to do that, which I think was necessary. I'm the type of person who needs kind of a lot of alone time to meditate, and I'm working on the whole you can be mindful anywhere you are premise. But it's really hard some days. Anyway, I sat down to meditate. I had a couple hours to myself, and I was just sitting in silence. And normally, when I'm that stressed out or dysregulated, I need more of a guided meditation. And this time I just listened to silence. And what came up were two patterns that I think a lot of women may be able to relate to. And these patterns kind of fight with each other. They're the pattern of, I don't want to be taken care of. I can do it myself. Independent boss babe. Something we were kind of conditioned. You don't need no man. A little bit of feminist thrown in there. And just wanting to do it yourself. And as admirable as this is, there's a balance here. The other pattern is a total opposite. Man, I wish I didn't have to be taken care of all the time. I seem to be someone has to take care of me regularly, whether it's, financially with my husband or mostly with him. Like if I'm sick and he's got to take care of me, or I've had, back pain and he has to pick up the slack around the house, and I hate being taken care of, but I have to be taken care of at times. And then it fights with that independence, I want to do it all myself thing. And when they're at war with each other, everything makes you feel guilty Being taken care of makes you feel guilty. Being super independent makes you feel guilty. And there's no winning there. There's absolutely no winning. So this was kind of the realization and the patterns that ended up getting cried out through this silent meditation. And it goes so much deeper than this because yes, there's programming. Yes, there's societal programming and parental programming. But it's also what I've chosen to believe. I spent many years as a single female running her own business, owning her own house, and doing well at that. But the season or life stage or even consciousness level I'm at now is that I need to get okay with asking for help. I need to get okay with knowing I don't have to do it all myself. And so if you're in a stage of having to do it all yourself, notice where your boundaries are getting a little rigid around that. But the thing was, the patterns that got cried out, there was a bit of a phrase that came up. Now, I'm not a religious fanatic, but talking to God, and I interchangeably use source or spirit or universe. Well, not so much universe anymore, but the word God feels more powerful to me right now. And one thing that came up was this phrase, God, please take care of me. And man, it was like that was the catalyst that broke the dam. Like, let the release happen. God, please take care of me. And I think it's worth saying right now if you feel called to do so. I want to ask you if you can tune into your body right now. What comes up for you? Where do you feel it in the body when I say you don't have to do it alone? Does the ego immediately go, yes, I do, you don't know my story? Does it fight for your limitations? It's kind of what the ego does. It fights for you to stay small. It fights for you to be in a state of worry and stress all the time. So where do you feel it right now? You don't have to do it by yourself. You don't have to do it alone. And I want you to sink into any area of the body that feels a little stagnant right now, a little stuck. And just close your eyes and listen to these statements. Just to see if there's resistance to them. See if there's a trigger here. See if there's a pattern that doesn't like these statements, or see if they feel very nourished in your body. Okay, deep breath. I'm allowed to be taken care of. It's okay for me to soften and receive. I am worthy of support and love. I can and I will ask for help when needed. Now, these may just feel like beautiful affirmations in the body, and you're like, yeah, that's easy. I love that. And that probably means that you're good with this. You're good with asking for help when you need it and knowing it's available to you. You're not having to do it alone. You're not having to be isolated or lonely in this life path. And for others, maybe it's not just like tasks around the house that you need help with, but also your own emotional well-being. Someone to hold space for your emotions, someone to hold space for you, your truth, your authenticity, you as a person. And in the era of, connecting mostly via social media, maybe that's not a thing for you right now. And I want to say it is. I promise you it is. One of the things I used to do with my naturopathic patients is a support map. If you never heard of a support map, you could maybe try it today. Just get a piece of paper, put yourself in the center, and circle your name. And around it, draw or write out anybody who is a support in your life right now. Um, each name, and then circle them so you put a bubble around them to the extent to which they are in your life. And so if it's a big bubble, they're probably in your life daily, if not weekly. If it's a small bubble, they're occasionally in your life. And then you draw lines to that person and away from that person towards you. So the to that person is how much you support them. And the arrow or line is from them to you is how much they support you. And you can create like a thicker line for a lot of support and a thinner line for a little bit of support. And it's a great way to get a visual on who is in your life right now. Who actually supports you, or who is in your life but actually you don't get much support from. Or who are you not supporting but wish you could do more? Is that worth reaching out and having a conversation, be like, yo, I love you. What can I do to help you right now? Or is there someone that's on kind of the fringe and you could pull them in a little bit deeper and be like, is there any way you could support me a bit more? I know everybody's going through stuff, but often we want to be there for our friends, for the people we love. So that's a really good visual. If you need more detail on that, if it wasn't clear, just let me know. I'll send you a kind of a visual of what that meant. Okay. I want to just read you something that came through a spirit, and maybe take this in more of a meditative state. So take a few deep breaths and sit comfortably. I know you already are. This is kind of the gig now. You're comfortable. Close your eyes and just take this in. You are divine. And we know this human experience is fraught with stress, troubles, and unexpected hurdles. You were never meant to do it alone, not only separated from other loving human beings, but also from Source God energy. This is exactly the time to give it to God. The burdens you carry are many, and the weight is too much, but shouldering it by yourself was never the intention. Allow us to carry it with you. Simply ask for help. And the phrase, help me, Source, Universe, God, help me. Help me with this. And then set it down. No, really, set it down. You've been taught somewhere along the way that it's your responsibility, and if you don't do it, knowing no one is coming to save you. But the thing is, you don't need saving. You simply need to take yourself off the pedestal of impossible expectations and say no to the people, circumstances, and conditioning that tells you to do more. You are enough. You're doing more than enough. You have the most incredible support team here behind the scenes. Let us guide you and love you. You are a child of the divine, and we help our children constantly. I want to leave you with an action step each week. So this is kind of new. Just trying things on, making sure the 1111 is of high value for you. And so definitely do the support map if you feel called to do that. And this week, my action for you is notice when something feels like a lot and ask for help with it or outsource it altogether. If you do, and you feel called to post about it, like say, hey, I outsourced this and feel so much better, or I asked for help with this and feel so much better, tag me. I want to see how this is changing the game. Now when I think of like solo parent, all the solo parenting I'm doing, which Jared's going on nights this weekend, so he's gone again. I'm not going to outsource my child, but it's the weekend. I could potentially call his grandma for some help, and Haven't really done that because I don't want to burden other people, but she loves her grandson. She can come watch him for a couple hours while I do something for me. And yeah. And then I'm open to the possibility of finding other ways to nurture me, nourish me. Um, I know when I'm lonely and solo parenting and feeling isolated from the world, I tend to scroll more, which does not help. We have talked about that before. So I just want to remind you, you don't have to do this alone. If you have a pattern inside that says you have to do it alone, or oh, I always feel like I need someone and that's not good, anything that makes you feel like crap is probably a pattern ready to go, ready to be seen, ready to be loved and transmuted. You're not alone in this. Every day there's something coming up. That portal year, holy crap. Every day there's something coming up that tests you a little bit or reminds you that this human experience is a lot and beautiful and meant to heal the deepest levels. I love you. I hope you're doing well. I'm so glad you're still here doing this work because it changes the frickin' planet. And I'm excited to see what comes next.